So today we're talking about reversing a sexless marriage or not losing attraction in the dating and marriage process. So many couples that are together, you've heard of them, they are in love, they're passionate, they can't stop talking to each other, and then suddenly they are strangers to each other. They live separate lives. They might be sleeping in the same room, maybe not, but they just wake up, both go to work, after work, do their own hobbies, hang out with their own friends or watch TV, go to sleep again. On weekends, only play with the kids, and there's just no intimacy, no romance. Yeah, but they still stay together because they're committed, and commitment is a good thing. But a lot of couples, yeah, already break up after 3 months of dating, after 1.5 years of dating latest, if they're not committed, you know. And again, there's nothing wrong or right. Some people just decide to commit to a person, some people don't. But a lot of people who are just more of a free spirit, they just wouldn't commit. And I understand that. Okay. I honestly much rather be single than in a relationship that has no attraction, no intimacy because you just are alone. But that's like a personal decision. Okay. And yet, I was always thinking, is there another way? Because when people meet in the first months, they're just so in love. They can't stop talking. They can't stop, keeping their hands from each other. They just want to be together. There's so much intimacy, emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, sexual intimacy. Is there a way that this kind of intimacy stays forever? And this video is for you if you're married and if you want to reverse your situation if there's no intimacy, okay? Either, physical or emotional intimacy, but also this video is for you if you notice that, yes, I am dating actually people and after a few months, we're just not interested in each other. Or maybe there are things happening that are just hurtful and then, we separate because why would I stay in a hurtful relationship? Or maybe you don't even dare to date because your nightmare is to have a relationship which is intimacy free. I'm not gonna use the S word. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's something that I saw in my life, in my family, where I was like, okay, there's commitment, there's some stability, and I like that, for family members, for children. It's a good thing when parents are committed, right? But I was like, that's so lonely. No intimacy, no physical, sexual, emotional intimacy. And I was just wondering, is there another way? And why is this happening? Let me know in the comments if you ever ask yourself this. And this was personally one of the biggest blockages for me to even like want to marry. Because I was like, I don't want to be stuck with someone where we just, I don't know, don't like each other. We don't talk to each other. We avoid each other, have our separate lives. And I was like, I've got to figure that out. So you guys know that I become a relationship and dating coach because I just myself had so many questions. I couldn't figure out so many things. And eventually I did for myself. And that's why it's just my biggest passion to teach this to you and to help you. Yeah, and before I go into the teaching, I'd like to share with you that if you are in the situation and if you need extra support, make sure to reach out for a free love audit call. I've been coaching also couples in the last years. My clients who got engaged to millionaires, I've been coaching them through the engagement and marriage process. So reach out for a free love audit call. And also one more quick announcement before I go to the teaching. I still have the 75% off my best-selling course, How to Date a Millionaire. It's a program where you have embodiment practices, A to Z steps, how to go from single to engaged to a top 1% man. So if you considered ever taking this course, this is now your chance, because I don't know when I will ever make such a huge discount. Okay, link is in the description box, and the coupon is birthday 75, but I'll put it in the description box. Okay, good. So now let's go to the steps. Why is this happening? How can you reverse a sexless marriage? And how can you prevent attraction to disappear when you're dating, when you're engaged, when you're freshly married? And again, what I just shared with you was the best case scenario where people just avoid each other and have their own lives. Sometimes people don't avoid each other, but they just deeply don't like each other. And it's like you ask yourself, where is this passion? Where is this love gone away? Is it like, how can this turn into so much anger and just uninterest? So I tell you what it is. When you start dating, in the first couple months, you basically feel completed. You feel excited, you feel completed, you feel there's so much attraction, and you don't feel any pain. If someone, does something bad to you, you don't feel any pain. It actually even feels like home. It's like in the first couple months and up until 1.5 years, it's like you are literally on a painkiller. Imagine you cut your finger or you hurt yourself somehow and you take a painkiller. You don't feel the pain, right? You just don't feel it. But then after 3 months, the painkiller stopped working and you're like, that is uncomfortable to me, like what this person is doing. It's literally hurtful. And after 1.5 years, the painkiller completely stopped and you're like, this person's behavior is so painful to me. It's so not attractive to me. I just can't. I just can't with this person. And there's this saying, we marry and choose subconsciously our unfinished business. Yeah. So, for example, someone that as a child always felt abandoned. That was my story too. I felt abandoned. I mean, it sounds like a silly reason, but anytime I was doing some subconscious healing, trauma healing, this came up. I felt abandoned because of many reasons, but one of the reasons was that I just got left at like babysitters or kindergarten or random places, and I would just like get panic attacks as a little kid. And that was, for example, one of the reasons, which I can tell you cognitively because I've done so much inner work on myself, that I felt abandoned. Okay, and usually, if I didn't heal this part of me, I would choose men subconsciously that would be uncommittable. Men who didn't want to commit would felt exciting to me, would make me feel alive, would be like, I'm attracted to this person. So what I'm trying to say is that we not only are on painkillers the first couple months, we explicitly choose the people who hurt us, whatever was our childhood trauma. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I had to do my inner work. I had to, I had to do my inner work to stop attracting those kind of people. And if you're ready to do your inner work too, and you think I'm the right coach for you, again, I also am trauma informed. I do somatic healing a lot. We do lots of healing as subconscious accessing in my one-on-one and group coaching containers. Reach out for a free love audit call, and we go from there. I will see if you're a good match for our work. So let's assume a person like me had abandonment issues, and then she attracted a guy who is like one foot in, one foot out, but it feels exciting. She's in the first months on kind of like a painkiller. After 3 months, she starts feeling really hurt. She's feeling like this guy is just not committable. After 1.5 years, 2 years, 3 years, she's just gonna feel like this is just not acceptable behavior, you know? And yeah, and then relationships break apart. But let me give you another example where relationships usually don't break apart, but this other example usually leads to loss of intimacy and a sexless marriage. For example, another person felt as a kid that they were, and these are real life examples for my clients, but I'm not gonna reveal their identity, obviously. So another person, let's call her Ashley. She felt as a kid not important. She felt like her needs are just unseen. She felt like, all her siblings are more important. Her mom and dad never gave her any attention or support because she was also the oldest and she was the smartest of all the siblings. And she felt like she's just not important. She's not the priority. Everything else is important. And she just needs to help her parents and her siblings, but she doesn't get to receive. So she grows up and she starts dating, and she's subconsciously going to choose a man who doesn't give her importance, who doesn't support her. Crazy, right? It feels like home, but she's choosing that person. And maybe she's even self-aware that she wants a supportive man, but she just can't stop it because, by the way, the subconscious is 95 more powerful than the conscious mind. We can tell ourselves consciously, no, I'm not gonna choose this person, but you're still gonna feel attracted to exactly that person that feels like home. Again, we marry or choose our unfinished business. So there is no escape from inner work. Either you do it before you get married or you do it within the relationship where you're already in a relationship, engaged or married. This is also possible, okay? I've had a lot of clients who healed within a relationship. But again, she chooses a man who doesn't give her importance, doesn't prioritize her. Everything else is important for this man. He himself, maybe he has even other kids, or his siblings are more important, his mom, his dad, his career, his friend, his far cousin from another continent. Everything else is more important than her. And in the first 3 months, she doesn't feel any pain. She actually feels like home. She feels very attracted to this guy, and she feels like, this is like soulmate, and it's a click, because it feels like home. Her parents treated her this way. She is the smartest girl who never needs any support. And again, it can also be for men. But then after 3 months, the painkillers, the chemistry kind of like goes away. And then she starts to feel pain. And she starts to feel like so hurt, like she was feeling in her childhood. And she starts to feel like, I'm not important again. And after 1.5 years, or whatever amount is different for every person, the painkillers completely go away. And then she feels very, very unsupported and unheard and in pain. And guess what? Guess what that happens? Then she closes off emotionally, she closes off physically. And again, this can also be for a man. This can also happen to a man. And guess what that then happens? Then there is no emotional, physical, sexual intimacy. Because there will be no intimacy if someone is in pain. And this isn't avoidable. You are going to be in pain if you are unaware, but it is reversible, okay? Or if you already healed this part of you before you started dating, before you started choosing a partner, then you also get to avoid that. A lot of the times, if I have clients I do like this scan with them first. And if I see there are any major, conditionings, traumas where the person is like feeling very much abandoned subconsciously, you probably won't even see it yourself. But I do like specific meditations and I kind of like can figure this out really quickly. And if I find that there is deep abandonment issues, there is, some kind of problems that are coming up, we are working through that first so that you don't have to work through it in a relationship, which is possible, but it's just easier to work through it before you, enter a relationship. So, yeah, and this is how, let's say, Ashley ended up in a sexless marriage. And is this healable? Is this reversible? Absolutely, it is. As I mentioned, the first option would be, let's say you are single right now and you work with me. Sometimes it can be as short as one session. The first option is that we work through that now before you start dating, so that you subconsciously rewire your nervous system, your embodiment, the childhood trauma or the childhood conditioning, I should say, from I'm not important, I'm not a priority, to I am an important person. I get to be the priority of my wife or my husband, you know? And then once this is rewired, you automatically are going to attract a man who is a perfect match. And guess what then happens? You are going to have this beautiful intimacy that you had in the beginning, even if the painkillers go away because you're not in pain. And your relationship will even deepen, even be more beautiful. And the sexual attraction will even be stronger. Actually, I will do more videos about polarity and sexual attraction because polarity can be maintained over years. It's about the feminine and masculine poles, okay? So this can be maintained. The intimacy, the physical and emotional intimacy can be maintained, okay? Let's say when Ashley did her inner work before she started the relationship. But let's say she didn't. She manifested someone and she was like, he's the one, I really want to be with him and I love him. Okay, fine. She's in a relationship already. And how would she reverse that while being in this relationship already? So then, when she's in this relationship, I would do exactly the steps with her again. We would go into the subconscious to heal that pattern that makes her feel unworthy, makes her feel unimportant, unseen. And then I would tell her how to communicate her need to her partner, to her husband, to her, fiancé, in whatever state she is in. And honestly, if she communicates right, because if we blame, everybody's gonna be like, just leave me alone, go away. But if she communicates right, which I teach my clients, unless her partner is literally a narcissist, it's gonna be okay. Because only narcissistic people, they don't have empathy, they don't really care. They are like, you're in pain, I don't give a what. But someone who isn't a narcissist, someone who has empathy, someone who's like, okay, so it really is painful to you if I behave like this, if I don't give you time per day, if I call my cousin in Australia because, I don't know, he's going through something, but I don't give you time, you feel abandoned, you feel ignored. A healthy man or even woman is going to be like, okay, I hear you. Let's talk about it. Yeah, let's come up with a plan and we spend more time together. You feel like a priority. Okay, let's come up with 2-3 things that I can do for you during the week that you feel supported. Okay, and sometimes it is that simple, but sometimes this also needs my support, where I guide both people in a relationship, because saying the feedback it's not easy, you know. If there's even a little bit of blame in the voice, blame and shame, the other person already be like defensive. Even though the other person isn't a narcissist, is a loving partner, he or she might be already like, no, I'm not talking to you, defensive. So the communication is just so important, to say it with an open heart without blame, to share the need without blame. But let's say everything goes well, okay, with my support, with my guidance, and Ashley managed to share her need with her partner, and he sees that, he hears her, he makes her feel like, okay, I will give you more time. My cousin can wait. Okay, you need more support. Okay, fine. Now I will help you with the dishes or whatever you're doing. This is so healing. Boom, the intimacy is back. The emotional intimacy is back. And guess what happens when the emotional intimacy is back? The physical sexual intimacy is back too. Because if you felt someone was attractive in the beginning of a relationship, there is like some physical attraction, you know what I mean? So, you know, you guys like each other, you know, you like the smell, you like each other physically. But if there is a disturbance in the emotions, someone is hurt, obviously there will be no sexual intimacy. So in this case, right, when Ashley was able to share her pain and her partner would listen, and they would find a solution. And again, this goes vice versa. It's not just for women that are in pain, men can be in pain too. Usually, it's even harder for men to communicate. So if you are a man and you are in a situation, also reach out to me. I've been helping men and women in the last years in this stage. But let's say that, you know, she shares her pain and he openly helps her to feel better, and the emotional intimacy is back, the physical intimacy is back, the sexual intimacy is back, and you literally fall in love even deeper. And this moment is also a healing moment for the childhood. So you can do it before a relationship, you can do it within a relationship, but you definitely need guidance. And it is just so worthy, so worth to try it, okay? If you can already take anything from this video, please don't give up. Please don't think, oh, this person that I'm with or that I'm dating is just so bad. He's doing this to me, or she's doing this to me. Don't start picking fights. Don't leave each other, because there is literally a solution to that, which unfortunately a lot of people don't talk about. And I don't know if you want to spend 10 years like I did studying dating, relationship, inner work to coach yourself through it. You know, it's not only studying but also working in this field. So sometimes it's really good to hire an expert to work you through this, because the opportunity cost is literally a sexless, intimate, less marriage. And that's not a pretty picture. Yeah, which sometimes leads to separation, breakups. It's not a pretty picture, right? We want, I don't know about you, but a lot of my clients and me want this first 3 months forever. This feeling of intimacy, this feeling of happiness. But what if you can be happy without the painkiller? What if you can be happy just because your partner is actually meeting your needs? You know how to communicate it. And I know sometimes life comes in the way in dating, but also in a marriage, where you guys are focusing so much on work, on the kids, on, I don't know, hobbies. But if you're watching my content, I'm assuming a relationship is something that really makes you feel fulfilled, makes you feel like, you know, especially those 3 months, makes you feel like I'm just seen, I'm just heard, I'm just understood. And you can have this forever. It does not have to be just the first 3 months. And you know, you don't have, a lot of people just break up and have those first 3 months with another person and then break up again. suffer, cry, grieve, and have just 3 months with another person. You don't have to go through that. You get to be with someone, you get to build a life with someone, you get to support each other, fall in love even deeper every single year, have a family together, build a house together, have wealth together. You don't have to be alone and always like break up and then have 3 months with someone else again. But I know a lot of people do this casual dating, which again, there's no shame if this is something that you deeply desire, but most people that watch my content, most clients that I have, they desire actually commitment, but they don't want a sexless marriage. They want commitment where intimacy is always there, where sexual, physical, emotional intimacy is there, where they continuously feel heard and seen and met. And when they see the other person there, instead of saying, oh no, let's just like, let me just do my own thing, they're like, hey, what's up? Let's talk about our day. Let's spend time together. Yeah. So I hope this gave you some clarity. If you are single, that you don't have to be afraid of a marriage without passion, without intimacy, because it's literally something you can control, especially with the right guidance and tools. And if you're in a relationship where you are a little bit feel stuck, you feel like there's emotional distance, and you even think about separation, maybe, thinking if I had another wife or another husband, I will have that, yeah, for 3 months, but after that you're gonna be again in this loop. you know don't hide, don't separate, give it a shot, reach out for a free love audit call if you'd like to work through this with me. And if you are dating, quick reminder, if you want a proven system, how to go from single to engage, how to spot the right man, make sure to grab my course, How to Date a Millionaire. Again, the 75% discount is on for a couple more days only. I'll put the link in the description box for both Love Audit Call and How to Date a Millionaire course. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next video.